Magandang umaga sa ating lahat. Welcome to our 365 Daily Devotion Bible Characters Edition. No? So ngayon ay patuloy natin pag-aralan ng ating series at ang paksa natin ngayong umaga ay patungkol kay Joseph and Potiphar's wife. No? Integrity when no one is watching. So Joseph's life in Egypt seemed to be improving, though he was sold as slave. God blessed him in house of Potiphar, and everything he handled prospered. No? So Joseph was trusted, promoted, and placed in a position of responsibility. Yet temptation did not remove, or yet success did not remove temptation. So in a private moment, Potiphar's wife repeatedly invited Joseph to sin with her. No witnesses, no immediate consequences, only a choice between pleasure and faithfulness. So Joseph's response reveals the depth of his character. No, he did not argue, he did not negotiate, he did not assume that sin could be hidden. So Joseph remembered God. He understood that sin is first and foremost an offense against the Lord. So choosing obedience cost him his reputation and his freedom, but it preserved his integrity. So through Joseph, though Joseph was thrown in the prison, God remained with him. This story reminds us that obedience to God matters most, especially when no one else is watching. So scripture natin dito, Genesis chapter 39 verse 9 to 12. Sinasabi dito na how then could I do such a wicked thing and sin against God? And though she spoke to Joseph day after day, he refused to go to bed with her and even be with her. So one day he went into the house to attend to his duties, and none of the household servants was inside. So she caught himself by his cloak and said, "Come to bed with me." But he left his cloak in her hand and ran out of the house. So ang katuruan natin dito, una, gratitude builds moral strength. So Joseph's refusal to sin did not begin in the moment of temptation. It was rooted in gratitude. So he remembered how God had blessed him, how his master trusted him, and how the Lord had been faithful even in hardship. So gratitude anchored his heart to God's goodness rather than his present desire. Second, a grateful heart strengthens moral resolve. So when he remember what God has done, sin becomes less attractive. Gratitude reminds us that God has already given. Has already given us more than we deserve, and it creates a desire to honor him rather than betray him. Forgetting God's goodness often leads to compromise, but remembering it fuels riches. Second is wise people set boundaries. So Joseph did not merely say no. Scripture tells us that he avoided being alone with Potiphar's wife. He refused to linger in an unsafe situation. So Jesus' wisdom this shows wisdom. Joseph understood that spiritual strength includes practical boundaries. So God does not call us to test our limits, but to guard our hearts. Boundaries are not signs of weakness, but of maturity. So wise believers recognize their vulnerabilities and choose distance over danger. So setting boundaries protects not only our purity, but also our testimony. So third is integrity saves a person. So from ruin, so Joseph's integrity cost him his freedom, but it saved his soul. So he could not enjoy temporary pleasure and avoided prison. So yet he chose righteousness. Integrity does not always protect us from suffering, but it always protects us from destruction. So sin promises secrecy, but delivers consequences. So integrity may lead to short-term loss, but long-term honor. So God later lifted Joseph from prison to palace because his character was trustworthy. Integrity preserves God's purpose and in our lives.